Lord, Kroak, Goofball, Charmer, and your local Pest Exterminator enthusiast. Today we'll be using one of the most busted heroes in Total Warhammer 3, who starts with probably the most OP spell kit in the entire game right from the start. We'll be playing as the Lizardman, known for riding other lizards. We'll have a perfect environment for family-friendly fun and harmony between all creatures. So let's begin. Today we'll be playing as Kroak, the white lizard of Itza, a deranged maniac on the battlefield and diplomatic mastermind. We'll be starting in the deep and dangerous jungles of Lustria, where we are surrounded by enemies from all sides, like the Skaven. Dangerous and deceptive, these rat men overwhelm their foes with sheer numbers. Edgelord Dark Elves, who are kinda kinky, bewildered Frenchmen looking for some holy grail, and many others. Our goal? Well... okay. Anyways, our first order of action was to eliminate the Snurgle army, led by this genetically gifted gentleman, and while they had some nice choreographed dance moves, let's just say Kroak is not a man of culture. And after a long fought battle, we got our first win. And with our first foes successfully eradicated, it was now time to decide what to do with the captives. Now I'm no dietitian, but eating them seemed like the best idea, so I went with that. With that out of the way, we easily captured their stolen settlement. At this point, the world was our oyster, so to speak. And so we started building our new army, filled with new lizard maniacs. With that out of the way, we can now capture the remaining Nurglinian city. Wait, Nurglinian? Anyways, we besieged their final city where their garrison looked like straight dog water. So I did the most humanitarian thing and auto-resolved. Ah, finally. Breathe it in. Peace. Ah. Wait.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Now, being the great libertarian man that I am, I decided to liberate this man of his lands. We immediately besieged their settlement, waiting for them to attack us. And would you know it, they came out to attack us. Now, Skaven in general are pretty fucking useless. However, there were a lot of them. And I mean a lot of them. In fact, even with Lord Kroak's nukes, they were still doing absolute insane numbers on my troops, having us edge out a last-minute victory by the skin of our teeth. With having desperately won that battle, you could say I was a bit nervous. So I did what any honorable warrior would do, and fled the scene. And on our midnight stroll back, we of course got ambushed. Difference being, now we were a bit more prepared, as we were peacefully directing the rats into submission, handing out some cutesy and organic care packages for all the rats in need, making them do what they do best, run for their lives. And with some nice damage, we can now besiege the newly found Skaven settlement with the help of our newly appointed Kroak general, appropriately named John. We auto-resolved a pretty easy win. Then we took another Skaven settlement, met with this Florida man leading a cult who wanted to be friends. I gracefully declined. Found some more rats on the way who I creatively disposed. And then this happened. In fact, immediately after declaring war on me, they took my city Jodl, one of my most prominent and beloved cities. I could only sit in despair and angst as they tore away my beloved settlement. So I did as many wise men have done before me, and called upon Lizard Jesus, or Douglas, you can call him whatever really, granting us the right of awakening. By using this right, we can call forth a creature of awesome power. Now what creature is this, you might say? A toad. God. Oh my God. Let's just say that with this newly acquired toad of ours, we had some new tools we could use. So, first order of business, give the man a proper name. Second of all, we put him in ambush and waited for the emos to arrive. And like fresh monster hanging on a stick, the emos came out of hiding pretty quick. And sure, they got served. Now, the Dark Elves just continued running into Toad's ambushes. Look, I don't know why, alright? This allowed us to launch our counter-offensive against them. Our plan being, well, disintegrating them into ash, destroying them with huge lizards wielding hammers, and of course, stampeding them over with huge bastillodons, and how could I forget, shooting the fleeing with poisonous arrows. With the Dark Elves defeated, we can now finally reclaim the lost city of Jodl. Our position was finally looking good, and so we started our offensive against the Dark Elves. And so it finally happened. A battle of giants. Rackart, the edgelord gamer, versus Kroak, deranged sociopathic bonehead. The battle of eons was upon us, and so the siege began. Atop his dragon, Rakarth had arrived, and so I made my defenses ready for the siege, and we were ready. While the Dark Elves fought hard and well, they had a single weakness, getting absolutely hailed with poison darts. In fact, Rakarth died just within 2 minutes of the battle, and so 3 minutes into the entire siege, it was over, and his men fled. Now, even with this, Rakarth was still being a massive dick, even when offering me his grandma's bank details for a peace deal. And so I burned and killed everything he loved, killing his faction for good. Now, this gave us some well-deserved downtime, so I decided to do a quest battle for Kroak. However, this quest is an absolute pain in the ass, and so without being able to auto-resolve it, I didn't fight it. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, because in this quest battle, there are Vampire Coast units. In fact, Luther Harkin's Vampire Coast. So, for some weird reason, when I entered this quest battle, I accidentally declared war on Luther Harkin's faction.
Wait, what?
Am I stupid? Because I'm feeling kind of stupid. No. No. Yeah. That's a lot of armies. Now, luckily, we just finished off Rakarth's faction, allowing us to unlock an additional legendary lord of our choosing. Now, who is that legendary lord? Introducing Lord Mazdamuni, avid enjoyer of having his dogs out, gaming chair sitting, cool hat having, and of course, an excellent spellcaster to have in our roster. With him, we needed to strengthen our armies to face the coming zombie scourge. We needed newer armies that could tear them apart easily. And it wouldn't take long before they were right at our doorstep, besieging a castle held by Toad. And so I sent Lord Mazdamundi over there to help him against the overwhelming forces of the Vampire Coast. And so with our newly acquired army, we were ready, charging through the forests. And it wouldn't take long before first contact, as powder and smoke were flying all across the battlefield. However, no amount of numbers and gunpowder in the world could stop the big brain strategy of a big fucking lizard. And as chaos ensued on the battlefield, the spells were flying. But through the chaos and the fury, we started to push the zombies out of the forests and reaching to their gun lines. And from there, their armies fell apart, with us winning our first battle under the moonlight. Okay, anyways, rightfully being salty, the vampires tried again the turn after with interesting results. After this, Luther came straight out of the loony bin, only to be sent right to the retirement home, and that was kind of it. We pretty much easily picked off the vampires one by one, and so with them out of the way, we had now cemented our great position in Lustria. With a strength rank of 34, and a vampire sent straight to the Shadow Realms, it was now time for kindred diplomacy. Starting off with breaking my treaties with the French, because we all know what's hiding under that helmet, and let's just say they didn't appreciate that.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Oh, I did not think of that, actually. So I put up an ambush in preparation, and would you know it? They came. All of them. Even the dragons. Now, even with greater numbers, we all know of French leadership, just as we know of the certainties of life. Death, taxes, and big-ass toad bombs. And after beating the breadsticks into a pulp, victory was ours to claim. And so we claimed more. And more. Even old man Mazzy had to join in on the fun. With an awesome battle. The front lines were clashing, and in the midst, Mazzy Mane hailed spells from the skies, plummeting the Bretonians below. And with fierce fighting on the front lines, you could say the French turned white and ran away, allowing us to capture a whole lot of their settlements in the meantime. But hey, wouldn't you know it?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Now, with this being Marcus Wolfhart, the world-renowned monster slayer, this of course didn't come as a surprise.
Die, you commie fucker! Don't throw my dick!
So, you could say I was prepared. Now, we welcomed them just like we did the Bretonians, with open arms and clubs in hand. However, to be perfectly honest with you, the Empire really didn't stand a chance. Our units and magic were so beyond them. The whole war just became a giant curb stomping, with Marcus Wolfhart literally running for his life the first time we fought him. And so with no real challenge, you could say they got their asses fairly handed to them. Marcus did of course also try to give me Rakarth's grandma's credit card info, So just like Rackearth, I ended his stinky faction, successfully eradicating all intruders, except for one. Dragon Emperor Yan Bo. Anyways, sensing this, he immediately declared war, quite rudely too, and he did not waste a second attacking us the same instant, with probably one of the most insane stacks I've ever seen. And so the battle was on, as we rushed towards the Cathayans on the hills, and inevitably our blades met. They were throwing everything they had at us, and with immense reinforcements, this was shaping up to be a close one. And so I sent Kroak straight in, as heroic as possible, placing the biggest Kroak spell I had right on top of him. In fact, I did it twice in an attempt to turn the tide. We could not lose now. While our frontiers held strong, these Cathayans were giving us everything they had. Even with our amazing units, the battle was starting to take a toll on our soldiers. But through our sheer determination, and Kroak being an absolute unit, we managed to steal the win in an epic battle. With this many losses, the Cathayans were sent into chaos. It didn't take long for Yan Bo to show himself, besieging Toad. And let me tell you, this guy is an absolute monster on the battlefield. And with spells flying everywhere from both sides, the battle was laying in the balance. Gunpowder was flying, the battlefield set ablaze. Even with this, these Cathayans were exceptionally hard to kill, so Toad did the only thing a hero would do, fighting Yan Bo in an epic one-on-one, leaving him to understand that this battle was over. Some say he's even running to this day. With his army depleted, we were able to kill off Yan Bo and the rest of his army the next turn, and so his empire. Now, peace had finally been restored.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this actually fucking happened. After immediately declaring war, they surrounded John, and while John's army was in a pretty good state, there was no helping the fact that the enemies were too many. It didn't really help that I accidentally nuked him too, but efficiently sending him routing after just 3 minutes of fighting. It was pretty much a slaughter as we got dished a pretty nasty defeat. And they did not stop there, attacking more of my garrison armies. And while this one fought pretty valiantly, we were simply outmatched both in numbers and quality, giving us yet another smack on the nose as we got yet another defeat. It was now time to hit back, with Kroak's experienced army against whatever his name is. Now, while this guy was atop a pterodon, it didn't stop him from effectively killing himself a minute into the battle. Even with reinforcements arriving, this battle was ours for the taking, showering them with spells across the battlefield. It did not take long before the enemy mass routed, and they were defeated, with our army mostly untouched and theirs totally destroyed. It didn't take long before they sought revenge, attacking Lord Mazdamundi. However, we have a trap card up our sleeve, and with their army approaching us, it didn't take long before they clashed with ours. And as the battle was reaching its climax, it was time to bring out our secret weapon. There was no mercy at this point, hailing all we had at them. And in the midst of all the chaos, we defeated the Lizardmen yet again, dealing some good damage across the board, and we're not done here. Our third newly appointed general, Tic-Tac-Toe, yeah, that's his actual name by the way, leading our host of flying units. Now while this might look cool on paper, it was an absolute pain in the ass to micromanage, making this battle quite a close one. But hey, then again, we got our victory, effectively killing all their armies in a single end turn. At this point, they were extremely weak, and having killed all of their armies, it was now only left for us to capture their last settlements and end their faction for good. Now, even with this, my armies were feeling kinda snacky, and so I went with the best dessert available, High Elves. I'm just gonna let you enjoy the scenery from here. Now, there was still a whole lot left of them, but it didn't really take long for Kroak and the others to tear them down pretty easily, leaving the final battle to look like something I've seen before. With their final hold taken, we had now finally conquered the entire continent of Lustria. And so with high spirits, I decided to fight that final quest battle and finish this once and for all. Now, while this quest still was a fucking pain in the ass, we got to kill some rats again and some vampire ghosts. Ugh, isn't this just great? We had finally purged all enemies of Lustria once and for all.
Alright, we got Chuck, we got Barney. Barney's about to meet his baker. Die, you commie fucker!
炸山还有张国，现在握有冰淇淋。